Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dr. Mama Says podcast, where you will hear a variety of timeless tips on parenting and healthcare. Thanks so much for joining today, and now it's time to get on with the show. Hey there everyone, I'm Dr. Burton, the host of the Dr. Mama Says podcast. And I'm so grateful that once again, you've chosen to spend a few minutes of your day listening to me ponder and share some of my timeless tips. Because of my experiences, I have many things I want to share. But remember, it's all about my message. Now, my technique, on the other hand, just remember, I'm on that steep part of my learning curve. I learn something new each episode. Today, I'm testing out something that I just learned. I'm going to try to even out the loudness of the entire episodes. I was listening to a couple episodes and noticed the beginning and the end kind of had some loudness going on. Just learned a new technique. Let me know how that worked out. Today, I want to talk about one of my basic philosophies of parenting. Seems I have a lot of basic philosophies, don't I? All right. I believe that parents should initially strive to create a little mini-me. Now, before you get all upset and fire off a bunch of messages, please hear me out. When you give birth to babies, their brains are empty. Your job is to fill it with things. Anything. But how can you fill it with things you don't know or you don't believe? You can't. So in raising your kids, you are teaching them the things that you think are right or wrong, or the things you think are just important. You may have learned them from your parents or friends, coworkers, or maybe even from strangers. But whatever experiences you've had in life, they have helped you to become the person you are today. Your baby knows nothing, so you get first crack at shaping them. Please take advantage of this opportunity. To many people, this seems like such a silly thing to say, but trust me, in my office over the years, I've had way too many parents tell me that they do not want to tell their kids what to do, but will just let them decide for themselves. Do you remember how I said their brains are empty? How are they going to decide something they don't know about? If they make decisions without your input, then trust me, they are making those decisions based on someone else's input. Would you prefer to have other people turn your child into their mini-me? I don't think so. The beauty of childhood is that kids are sponges. They are absorbing everything around them. The good, the bad, and of course that means the ugly too. You want to be front and center, sharing experiences that highlight what you believe is good or just simply what you believe is right. Everyone has their own belief system, so why not share yours with your kids? Once kids get older, they will have increasing exposure to other people who will begin to impact and shape them. When you give them a good base of knowledge and a good belief system, they will better be able to assess this new information and learn over the course of their lives what they like and what they don't like. They will clearly make choices where you can see they did not make the choices that you told them. They are moving away from that initial mini-me that you created. You must let that happen. I remember times when my kids were young and we were at school activities like sports and all the parents were sitting on the bleachers just chit-chatting about what our kids were up to. And one mom said her daughter asked her what to do about a particular problem. And she told her, just figure it out. Talk to your friends and you'll find what's right for you. Now, years later, I still recall trying my best not to let my eyes bulge out of my head because on the inside I was thinking, what the heck? The fact that your child asked you means she wants your input. Plenty of times kids act without our knowledge and certainly don't ask us. Why wouldn't you seize that opportunity to give your child at least some foundation? No, you do not need to tell her exactly what to do, but you can talk through some options. You can ask about how she feels about certain things, get a sense about what she's thinking, how she processes. I would have some of these kind of conversations with my girls. We'd pick different options, walk through how each one might play out, which of these options may end up with the results they were looking for. Basically, I was teaching them to think beyond that initial decision. How was their decision going to impact them or others? Of course, kids are going to discuss things with their friends, and they may even choose their answers over anything you've discussed. But you should give them a good foundation to have something to compare the other options to. Teaching kids your beliefs is one thing, but teaching them how to think and assess how to live those beliefs, that's an entirely different issue. Not to just blindly do things, to think and think about what their actions mean. Most of our kids do not end up being just like us. The mini-me will be gone, but as they grow and mature, you will still see the core of what you instilled in them. We need to give them a good base and then let them grow and bloom into their own person. I personally think that when people say you're forcing your opinion on your kids, I don't think that's right. Teaching kids what you know and what you believe is not forcing your opinions on them. On the other hand, I think you have a limited time to put your belief system in your kids. As kids grow into young adults, they should already know what you think and taught them. They now have the right to reject it and to choose another path. This can absolutely be heartbreaking, but it's part of parenting. Accept that your kids are going to make the decisions that feel right for them. We must love and support them despite this. Your mini-me may become a distant memory, but they should also have learned tolerance and acceptance from you. Even though they may now have a different belief system than you, they should also be able to accept yours and understand that you don't have to change to theirs. Parents, please remember, you already had your time to put your best foot forward and to teach them why you believe what you do. If they later choose another path, it should not be viewed as a direct reflection on you. It's only a reflection that they wanted to go another path. Many things in their lives will lead them to their changes. You cannot beat yourself up and wonder what you did wrong to make them choose another path. This is often how we find ourselves and choose our ultimate place in life. I made a motto many years ago and posted it on the side of my website. I still stand by it. It simply says, children are born who they are meant to be. Parents must raise them to be the best version of themselves that they can be. None of us knows the future of our kids. Successful, famous, antisocial, average, somebody's going to be in all of these categories. Many factors weigh into the future of our kids, but we have to really work hard to give them a jump start. I always tell people parenting is hard, and oh goodness gracious, that is certainly true at every single step. As a parent, you need to decide what's important to you. I think parenting is an active sport. It can be exhausting, and sometimes you win, and sometimes you lose. Are you even really a parent if you have not had some spectacular, memorable parenting fail? I don't think so. I think we all have some of those. To be successful in a career, you need to work hard and have a plan. The same holds true for raising kids. We are not all equally interested in the same things, so we are not going to focus equally on all areas of their lives. What's important to you? Being empathetic and kind to others, having a good religious sound background, excelling in academics, experiencing the beauty of the arts. How about those athletics? Just take a minute and think about what makes you tick. What do you love about life and love to see in others? Those are going to be the things that stand out and that you're going to focus on instilling and teaching to your kids. If you're vegan, that's a lifestyle you chose for a reason. So why wouldn't you expect to raise your kids that way? I never really encountered many vegans until I jumped into this social media life. I remember laughing out loud when I saw on Instagram a picture of this sweet little boy gardening with his mom. His t-shirt said, "We do not eat our friends." It had pictures of animals on it, and I thought that was hysterical. This will definitely make an impact on him later in life. But who knows if he'll stay vegan. But he will have this little bit of his family in him, and he can make the decision that's right for him. This is the process of creating your mini-me, sharing and teaching the things that are important to you. Remember how I said kids can choose a different path? It should not be a reflection of you. Well, I remember that one other mom I saw on social media did not remember that. She was a very strong anti-vax mom. This whole anti-vax movement, that's a whole topic on itself. Why do people not like vaccinations that save lives? Of course, as a physician and scientist, I don't agree with that, but I digress. Anyway, this anti-vax mom raised her child to be anti-vax. They clearly discussed it throughout her life. Mom had created a mini-me. But when her daughter was about to go to college, she went for a physical exam, and she had a conversation with her physician. After listening to the information, she then decided she wasn't anti-vax, so she began the process of getting vaccinated. Her mother was livid. She lit up social media about her failure as a mom. But it is not a failure. This is Parenting 101, where you teach your kids and then allow them to learn, process, make their own decisions as a young adult. We need to love them just the same. As a physician, healthy lifestyle choices were important for me to teach my girls. Clearly, health matters to me. But there are healthy people and then there are healthy people, like all capital letters healthy. We're not that kind of healthy. We're just regular healthy people. Anyway. Has anybody been to that exhibit called Bodies? Well, when our kids were young, my husband and I decided to take them to this educational exhibit because we knew we were not as cool as we used to be, and their desire to spend all day Saturday learning with us wasn't really high up on their list, we said that they could each bring a friend. Have you ever noticed that your kids will want to do things with other people that they would mope around with if they had to do it with you? Well, I was amazed at how excited their friends were to go to an exhibit dedicated to learning about the body. I had no idea what to expect, but it was actually a beautiful exhibit. I'm biased because I'm a through and through science nerd, but they really did a fabulous job displaying the body in all of its glory, highlighting disease and illness and abnormal things that can go wrong in the body. Now I had the task of making it fun for these kids. There were headsets that drone on and on with facts about what happens in the body, but I turned into Super Duper Dr. Mom, the ultimate tour guide. I dusted off my medical school training, and I became an expert on the entire body. I would read the little blurb that was in front of each area, and then briefly tell them what the exhibitors wanted them to know, and then I would launch into sharing my own experiences from medical school, residency, with real-life examples. At the lung exhibit, I talked about how we breathe. I discussed asthma because my daughter had it, talked about medicines and how they work, and then my favorite area, the black lung of smokers. We were a no-nonsense, smoking is bad kind of family. There was no negotiating that. That was pushed on them from day one. And this exhibit gave me a chance to get up on my soapbox and emphasize my personal bias. There were smokers all over the world, but if you choose to be one, this is going to be your lung. And who wants that? Nothing like a little plug for what you want. Make sure you do that when you go to any museums. Put in that plug for what you want. I was able to share all my personal biases at each little area, backed by the visual assistance of the exhibit, and then go off on whatever tangent I wanted to, even if they weren't directly related to the topic. I did not realize how loud I was, or how animated I had become. In general, I do talk with big hand and arm movements, as well as moving my face around big movements. I had apparently drawn quite a bit of attention. At one exhibit, I heard someone in the back say, "Excuse me, can you speak a little louder?" Oh, goodness. I looked up and realized I had a group of about 20 to 30 people who had taken off their headsets, and now they were on the children's tour. Breaking down things so that young kids can understand and be interested takes a little bit of extra work. Who knew adults liked it broken down that way, too? At first, I was a little bit embarrassed because I saw all these adults listening to me, and they were hearing all my biases that could directly conflict with what they thought. But I simply was trying to fill the little small brains that were with me, hoping to make an impact on them. Sharing your beliefs and explaining why they're important is part of creating a mini-me. My kids' friends had already been imprinted by their own parents, so they may or may not have bought into my messages, or it could have made a difference in them. Kids will grow and develop into their own passions, which may or may not agree with what you initially taught them. Take the time when kids are young and imprint them with your core values, and then set them free into the world to come in contact with other messages. They will choose yours, theirs, or make a mixture of the two. Do not force them to keep yours. This can be a hard part of parenting, learning when and how to let go. You should always be a rock, their rock, loving them despite their choices, but you should also remind them who you are and that your beliefs are still the same. Having a constant strength in their parents allows kids to feel safe in venturing out into the world. This situation is actually one of the reasons my kids left private school. I loved their school. They had great friends, were excelling academically. However, I had done all I could to imprint on them. I realized that cozy, protective, small private school was not allowing them to encounter enough diverse experiences to allow them to make their own choices. I needed them to not be protected so much by the strict school rules, so they had to learn how to make their right choices when bad choices were around them and readily available every single day. The real world awaits your child. I encourage every parent to create a plan to instill your values into your kids and not simply adopt the attitude of letting them figure it out. That time will come in the future, but you need to give them a good foundation for something to compare the other options to. Now go forth and work on creating your mini-me. As they grow, the obvious mini-me may be hidden, but it will make you smile when they grow into adults, and then you see some of what they have chosen to keep of what you imprinted on them. That is a huge parenting win that will never, ever get old. So that's it for now. I gotta go. Thanks so much for joining, and hope you come back to listen again soon. I truly want to thank you for spending your time listening to Dr. Mama Says. It means a lot to me because without you, there would certainly be no podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, I would love for you to go to iTunes and consider giving me a 5-star rating. This will help me to gain the support I need to continue bringing new and exciting content. To review any information presented in this episode, a summary of our show can be found on the web at www.drmamasays.com. And don't forget to subscribe if you've not done so yet. Until the next time, hope you come back to listen again soon.